Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase podcast. Today we have with us Loralee Humpherys. She is a spiritual life and health coach, massage therapist, Reiki master, colon hydrotherapist with experience in meditation and aromatherapy. Her purpose is to expose and dissolve the deep-seated social conditioning and beliefs that keep you feeling stuck and fearful, sick and diseased, and giving away your freedom and power. In other words, being enslaved. Her goal is to teach you the natural laws of health and the tools needed for you to heal yourself so that together we can build our new world founded on the core ethic of do no harm. I love that so much. Welcome to the show, Loralee.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So tell us your story. How did you get into all of this and where did you start from? And you've got like so many things that you're proficient at.
Yeah, it's been definitely a accumulation of a lifetime of healing. So I started when I was in college. I had my awakening of things. And as most awakenings go, it is a result of trauma and difficult times. And so with that, then I started to question everything that I was taught. I started looking for every book that I could find, and this was pre-internet. So everything in the college bookstore that related to healing, self-help, family patterns, psychology. And then when I had a chance, then I would go to travel to a different town to where they had one of the very first New Age bookstores, and I would just gobble up everything I could find, every topic that was of interest to me. And I zeroed in on energy healing work and spiritual psychic development. That just fascinated. So I read everything that I could, and I really just wanted to find someone at the time who could do that. And where I was living, it was a very religious, conservative environment. I thought, who would there in this town?
You at the stake,
And how the universe works is that after I graduated from college, then I was visiting a friend of mine who had a lapidary shop. And she was telling me about this woman that could see energy and would come in from time to time and clear energy on her wrist, because when she was doing jewelry, then it's teeny little movements and you get carpal tunnel very easily. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet this woman. So fortunately, a few weeks later, then I was in the shop at the same time and got together. She started doing energy work for me. And that was truly the beginning turning point of so many things. She taught me so much in terms of the energy system, how to heal, the dynamics of how energy flows through the body, how it shows up in your life, how it connects to and influences physical health, and how you can really develop a relationship between doing meditation, shifting your energy, doing internal work, and then observing how that affects your outer life. And from there, then you can really make progress in learning to manifest and live your life intentionally, consciously, versus being run on autopilot, which is dominated by social conditioning, old traumas, genetic or generational traumas that get passed down. And so it was just a life-changing event for me. And so then from there, I worked with her for about 14 years. Then from there, then I went back to school into massage. I became a Reiki master. and learned all kinds of things about how the body works using essential oils. And then later, a few years ago, I became a health coach because I realized so much of what affects the ill health of the body is, quite frankly, what are we putting in our mouths? And it doesn't take too far to look at the current food supply to see it's so loaded with toxic chemicals. It's overprocessed. There's no nutrition or very little nutrition. I mean, I could go on and on about the contamination of the food supply and how it firstly wrecks the gut. And then from there goes on to affect hormones, blood pressure, weight, blood sugar, brain fog. I mean, every other ill in the book, it all comes back to gut health. And so that's where I chose to focus my emphasis, my coaching work on gut health, because that is really the beginning point of everything. And secondly, in the abdomen, that's where we hold massive amounts of energetic, emotional data. Unresolved emotional issues is found in the gut. So you combine that together, then you have a really solid foundation for helping yourself heal and really turning your life around, going into the direction that you choose it to do.
I had an image while you were talking of, if you're not living your life intentionally, it's like standing and moving around slowly on the freeway with all the oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you can dodge cars for a little while, but eventually you're going to get whacked by something. And then if you're able to stand back up, you're already crippled and you're going to get hit by something else. So you really do need to look into these modalities to heal your gut and heal your energy field, and they're all connected. It's like so amazing to me how much we've learned lately about how interconnected they really are.
It is.
And I'm so interested in what you're doing out there by sharing this message, because often you find people that are either focused on just the health part or just the spiritual part, but they really do all go together.
Yeah, I think with my experience, I began with the energetic emotional work.
Mhm.
And I at the time, I really wasn't very connected to my body. And then as I did more of that work and then went through massage school and then learned about nutrition, it all just landed one day for me of how it's so interconnected it is. You cannot separate them out. And when I was younger and just learning all of this stuff in my beginning days, well, it was before I even went to massage school, I was so immersed in the world of energetic healing and understanding the energetics of our system. I would talk to people about the energy system, and they would look at me like I've got three heads. They have no concept. And fortunately, it's gradually making its way into the understanding of the public, and yet we still come up against this blind spot that if we cannot see it, touch it, feel it, sense it with our five physical senses, it couldn't possibly exist. And yet that, in my opinion, is one of the biggest misconceptions of the universe, because there's so much more beyond what we can see in visible light. And that's where our energy system exists. And so
everything exists. It's just whether we're going to bring it into the realization of our, we call it manifesting, but it's really just to making it manifest, to be revealed in the three-dimensional. Like, we're all little 3D creators out there. Every time we have a thought, something is created.
Yeah.
We just might not see it yet. And I can give you a really interesting example. This happened to me just recently. We live next door to a granary, and they had been turning. There's a little piece that comes out. They border us on two sides, and there's this little piece that comes out into our neighborhood, and it was turning into a junkyard. I mean, they were piling old cars in there, refrigerators, just junk. And it was kind of like, I don't like mice. Okay, I'll just put it out there. The mice
Yeah.
just like creep me out. So, and the mice were like multiplying over there because, it's a granary and there's lots of
Yeah.
grain and stuff for them to eat. And instead of complaining and going to the city council and demanding change, I just started visualizing it as a park where kids could play, and there were swing sets, and even though it's a gravel lot, there was grass, and I just held this vision for that piece of land for about 6 months. And a few days ago, they started moving the trucks away
Nice.
and all the trash disappeared.
Yeah.
Now there's just one small pile of siding that I'm pretty sure is going to be leaving soon, but I think we want some of that. So we're going to talk to them about it before they take that to the dump. But I mean, I didn't have to do anything other than hold the intention for that piece of property. And I'm really excited to see what they end up doing with it, because they have to be cleaning it up for some reason.
Right. Yeah, we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, or what we even understand.
Mhm.
And I think bringing in the understanding of our energy system and how to work with it and how it interfaces with our body, that really opens up so many different conversations and potential and abilities of what we can actually do, not just for healing ourselves and our bodies, but manifesting the life that we wish and understanding the principles of how to use the energy to do that. So the educational piece is just so important.
It is, and it almost feels like, I don't know why we don't teach our kids this. I don't know why we weren't taught this as kids. It the world would be in a much different place right now. And I believe that it's moving towards this better place because people are getting this message out, and more people are waking up to the shenanigans that have been going on for, really centuries around the power that we have. And anytime somebody, like, I was joking about you getting burned at the cross or on the pyre, but
Yeah.
they did things like that to people that were awake because they didn't want the message getting out. Because when one individual realizes how much power they have by themselves, it's multiplied when we come together. And the more people that are creating this or holding this vision for a better universe, the more it comes into focus for us all, which is
Yeah.
the whole point
Yeah.
of being, I think.
Yeah. We can manifest so much more. And I think it's, it goes back decades and decades, and or hundreds of years, I should say, even thousands, if you want to go back that far, of just this agenda on the planet by certain groups of people who maneuver themselves into power, into religion, into politics, into corporation and business, so that they have the control of what information we have access to, what goods and services we have access to. And so much of it, I mean, you could say even like 98% of it, it's all geared towards keeping us separated, uneducated, not understanding who we are and our true potential, and not coming together. Because if we did, we would topple those control structures in like a day.
Yeah, all we have to do is walk away.
Exactly.
It's really that simple. But most people live in a state of fear. That's just their normal state of being, is fear. And they may say, oh, no, I love everybody, but you're afraid you're going to lose your house. You're afraid you're going to lose your stuff. You're afraid that you're not going to have enough, whatever enough is. And it's like everything exists, but nothing exists in my worldview anyway. And, you've always had enough. You, by virtue of the fact that you're still breathing, you are enough, and you will always have enough, because stuff is always in flux and will come and it will go, and no amount of worrying about it is going to change what's happening. I shouldn't say that, because the more you worry about it, the more what you're worrying about will show up in your life.
Absolutely.
Because you're actually creating that reality for yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of just imagining, use your pretends. Let's pretend. You can pretend anything, and truly it can be reality.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of forces and mechanisms in play in society that keep people in that state of fear. It's a very low vibration. There's a lot of technologies that are designed to pump out fear. And so, just kind of like go down the chain of what is that doing for you? So you're receiving this bombardment of this frequency, this very low frequency of fear. It becomes embedded within your energy system, stirs up and activates the thoughts, the feelings, the unresolved past traumas of things that you already carry within you. That is a resonant companion to the fear being broadcast to you. And so you become paralyzed emotionally, energetically. The cells of your body register and receive this instruction to be fearful. So your genetics, your DNA, it will express proteins at that level. The biochemistry, the hormones, the neurotransmitters, everything will be created to reflect that state of fear. And so not only are you energetically, mentally, and emotionally, now you're physically locked into that low state. And then you just act and do and say things to perpetuate it. And then you're stuck. How do you get out of that?
And you start becoming less healthful. Your body starts to deteriorate because your body, it holds all of these emotions. Emotions are a chemical reaction. There's something that actually physically happens in your body when you have an emotion. You just look at when you cry. Something caused those tears to come out of your eyes.
Yeah, chemicals are made. Yeah.
They're all like processes.
Yeah.
On the 3D level, everything is managed by processes. The breathing, the act of everything sticking together so that you are still in this corporeal state.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that that's our natural state. Our natural state is in a flow. It's light. We are part of everything. And the further we get from that idea that we are connected to everything, the more alone and fearful we can become. Instead of, looking at your neighbor and saying, you are me and I am you. You're saying, oh, you're bad and I'm good. It breaks that.
Yeah, it breaks that connection.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a couple of things I read recently or listened to a podcast recently where they were saying some studies or research projects done by various scientists going back to like the 1940s, the World War II days. And they found that they could do all kinds of things like physical abuse, mental, emotional abuse to people, but that would not break their spirit as much as if they isolated them. Do you think about the messages for the last few years about how we have to isolate, distance, and separate ourselves? And then all of this, the other messages about how you're better, I'm not, or I'm better than you, or this race, or this gender, or this ideology. I mean, everything under the sun to separate us. And just understanding that creates such a low level or a primal angst and trauma response, which goes against our very nature and how we're built, that it just kind of rolls and rolls until people act out crazy. Then they have all kinds of violence and all kinds of things that we're looking at in our world today, completely forgetting who we are and what we're capable of, which is to be in a more relaxed, expansive, open, receptive, loving, nurturing, cooperative state. I mean, that's how we were meant to live, not this dystopian, fear-based nightmare that so many people have fallen into.
Yeah. And it keeps getting perpetuated. Even in, when you look at institutions that are supposed to be about love and peace and coming together, you almost always find that they're the catalyst behind these fear-based ideologies of, there's not enough, and those people over there are coming to get you, and you better hoard, and you better like make sure that you can protect yourself, because
Yeah.
I am at heart an anarchist, and not the chaos kind. I'm the kind that believes we should all govern ourselves, and we should all look at the world as though we were connected, because we are, and we're connected not just to each other, but to all living things, like the
Right.
trees and the plants and the animals. We are connected to them.
Yeah.
We're all energy, and we all move and have an impact on each other. And no, I'm not a vegetarian, but
Well, I would
Much meat,
agree
though.
with what you were saying about at heart an anarchist. And it's also looking, immediately people hear that term and they have this complete lawless breakdown image in their mind. And it's like, if
But
you
that's
really
not
look at,
anarchy.
if you really look at what that word means, it all comes back to recognizing that you are a sovereign.
Mhm.
You have the ability to think and choose and run your life and choose how your body is cared for and what you put into it. You are at choice. You are empowered to run your life. You don't need an outside force telling you what to do every second of the day. And I think that is such the heart of so many physical conditions, because people get so bogged down in the conditioning that they're helpless, that they're worthless, they have to be a victim. And so it becomes this weird inverted thing to where they begin to feed on the attention that a victim or a health condition gives, rather than recognizing you've got the power to stand up and heal yourself and walk away from this. But they've instead formed their identity around this condition. And so now they milk it for the attention that they can get from it. I'm like, what? We're so much more than that.
It's not even the power so much
Yeah.
as it's the responsibility. You have
Yeah.
a responsibility to all the rest of us
Yeah.
to heal yourself, to be the
Yeah.
best version of you can be, because the rest of us need you. We
Yeah.
are a collective, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. We belong together. People
Yeah.
are not designed to live in isolation. They're not designed to live by themselves. And the more that you isolate yourself from others, the crazier you get, really.
Yeah. You do.
Because you start creating, because we're always creating by what
Yeah.
we think about. And so you start creating a reality that it doesn't really mesh with the rest of the realities that are being created around you, which
Right.
is why community is so important, because we're all kind of collectively creating a reality that we want to see together.
Yeah. And that's what you said about responsibility is huge, because it's coming into what I call spiritual maturity, in that you recognize this is how I'm made. I have this consciousness that can intend and create and do and manifest. I have this energy system through which that happens. So then it's the big question is, what are you offering the world? What are you contributing? Does it uplift or does it harm? Does it continue? Does it nurture and assist other people to be the best they can be, so that together, as you said, we're all one, so that together we can evolve? Because life is about either evolve or die. Dissolve. So how are you using your energy, and then being responsible for those choices and those actions of, if you've used it in a way that is more harmful and life detracting, recognize that, ask yourself, is that really my intent? Am I really that disconnected from myself? Well, maybe I need to do some work on myself to like correct this, and then take the steps to what I call uncreate, but use your power, your intention, your energy to create something else, so that that old creation no longer perpetuates to continue harming yourself and others. And by others, I mean everything in nature, the plants, animals, birds, fish, everything. We have a relationship to all of life. We're not separate from it, which is what we've been taught to think that we are. And that's what is leading to so much destruction on this planet.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, all you have to do is look around and ask yourself, is this helping or hurting the progression of where we are going as a universe, as a civilization?
Yeah.
But I can remember back in the days when we used to use paper bags all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there weren't any other options. And then along came plastic bags, which were going to save the trees.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now we've come full circle. You can't use plastic because it's killing the planet. It's like, duh. Could have told you that back then.
I know.
But instead of, the useful paper bags where you could, wrap your textbooks or something.
Yeah, you'd use them for many things, or even get a cloth bag.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's plastic.
Now you've got the plastic bags, and they get thinner and thinner, and they're almost useless. And now they want to charge you for them when you go different places. It's like, well, no, I don't really need a bag. I'm not gonna buy that much stuff here.
I know, it's just, you step back and it's just gotten silly because it's so absurd. And it's like, we have lost our way in so many respects. And I think so much of the chaos and the mayhem that is happening on this planet currently is simply a wake-up call to get your attention, to say, look how far we have come in an unsustainable way. It's like, what does it actually mean to be human? It's not about injecting cyborg making things into our bodies. It's not about becoming a machine. It's about recognizing the beauty, the magnificence of this innate divine design, that we have everything that we need to evolve and to grow and to connect with each other and take care of the planet as stewards that the human race was meant to be, rather than to control and kill everything. But it's really coming back to, who are you? Why are you here? What is your gift that you have to offer the world? In the process of discovering that, you get to rebuild your body and discover how you've misused your power of intention and misdirected your energy. And then learn to create something that nurtures life. It all goes, what you were saying in my bio, is like, do no harm. Really take that to heart. And by doing no harm, that includes you, and not harming your body by giving it things that's going to create disease and deteriorate it. You can get down very granular when it comes to just do no harm. And I think if people just were to keep that more in mind, just that premise alone, that could really influence so many poor choices and instead redirect them into more beneficial ones.
Yeah, it's so true. I was thinking about something I'd heard about a while ago, and that's that when you grow your own food, the act of growing your food actually changes its chemistry to nourish your body more than, like, if you grow tomatoes and you buy tomatoes in the grocery store, those tomatoes that you've grown, that you've put your hands on and you put your energy around. And if you're like me, you talk to your plants. After we're done here, I'm going out to encourage my seeds to grow for me. I know it sounds silly, but hey, I get bumper crops when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of science behind that, and they figured that out long, years ago. And there's even a woman that I follow, she's mentioned that same type of a thing. And what they would do is take the seeds before they put them into the ground and put them in their mouth and let the saliva, the DNA, the energy signature of the person embed themselves into the seed. And so when the plant grows up, then it has your signature, your frequency, so that it will create, as you said, the nutrients specific to the frequency of what your makeup is. And by your continual interaction, again, it goes back to the energetic exchange. They understand it. Plants are intelligent. They have their own level of intelligence. They can pick that stuff up and they know what compounds to make to nourish us. It's a beautiful thing. And it's just
so amazing.
Yeah, going back to the connection, returning back to nature and the earth, and really looking at how do we want to reconstruct our life in our communities such that we can thrive again and be happy.
Yeah. So let's talk a minute about how it is that you do your coaching, because we're supposed to be talking about how you do it. I love this conversation. It just like it's where I live.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
So how do you coach people? Is it like one-on-one? Is it group? Is it how does all that look?
Yeah. So the current version is a 3-month program. And so I have a variety of things that I support them in restoring their gut health as much as possible during that time. And then if they choose to renew for another 3 months, that's always an option. So all the things that I put into my program are things that I've done myself. So we always start with looking at what are you eating, becoming aware of the things that you're putting into your body that's poisoning you, quite frankly, and creating inflammation and jacking up your nervous system and your hormone system, your endocrine system, stopping that, and then start introducing more quality foods, plant-based foods, like real food, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, getting proper nutrition. And then, so once we've spent some time doing that, and my clients are a few steps into the process of that, then we do a cleanse, a cleansing process. There's 2 components to restoring health. You got to get the nutrition, but then you've got to do the cleansing. And I think a lot of coaches, a lot of people, they don't really delve too much into the cleansing, detoxing component. Who knows why? But from my training, I figured that is one of the biggest things that needs to be done. And the 2 organs that are the most stressed in the digestive system are the colon and the liver. If those are jacked, if the liver is stressed, which quite frankly in everyone it is, there's going to be such a cascade downhill effect of numerous other body functions that go awry. And so those 2 organs, cleansing those 2 organs is a big part of my system, of my program. And I use an enzyme-based cleanse product or program that has been very, very effective at getting out the mucoid plaque that lines the intestinal walls. It gets out the stones, the gallstones out of the liver and gallbladder, so that those organs can relax and start to work more optimally again. And then from there, then it's on the post cleanse, and it's like, okay, how are you feeling? How does your body respond to that? Let's up level again, so that you can begin to form more long-standing habits of health. And along the way, I teach them the natural laws of health, of basic, simple things of how you live to keep a body healthy, which are also the solutions for reversing disease. Basic things like getting an adequate sunshine, fresh air, look at the quality of your water. Are you living in a toxic relationship? Are you doing things that you enjoy? Are you exercising with your body? Basic, simple things we all know we need to do. And then through all of that, then there's also conversations of the emotional work, because that's going to come up everywhere. Anytime you make a change in your diet, there's going to be the resistance and the chatter. And then it's like, okay, what's going on here? What's really talking? What really is the issue here? During the cleanse process, when you take away the blanket of food, emotional stuff will come up because they are lodged in the gut, they're lodged in the intestines and the liver. And so those emotional energies need to be looked at, expressed, discussed, resolved, so that you're no longer carrying them around. And so there's tools that I teach my clients on how to deal with that themselves, primarily guided visualization / meditation and breath work.
Now, all of those things are so important. And is this on a one-on-one basis, or do you take people through like a group and one-on-one, or is it?
Currently, it's one-on-one.
Mhm.
Going into the future, then I do plan on forming a group, but currently it's one-on-one.
Individual. And I know that you offer a PDF, a free guide. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So that's an introduction to some of the things that I offer, and it's really geared towards people who have tried everything. They're burned out. They've gotten like loss of trust in the medical system because they've tried everything. They've spent thousands of dollars, and still here they are. You know, their emotional is just emotionally just kind of shut down and angry and numb. And so it's just to kind of offer just a glimmer of hope that, yes, you tried everything, and let me show you one more thing. Can you just bring yourself to just trying it one more time, and to really understand that the core of so much of the issues in digestive issues is the toxic load, that you've got to clean out the gut. You've got to clean the intestines and the liver. And so that's what my PDF introduces them to, is just to understand this is really the root cause of why the symptoms won't go away. It's because you've got to clean the system. So that's what
it's not as
I'm
hard as
offering.
people think,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. There's some education that goes into it. That's why it's helpful if you've never done any cleansing to go through it with somebody who's done a lot, both themselves as well as for helping other people. So
Right.
it's just an introduction to the need for cleansing and where they can take the next steps if they're ready to go forward.
That's amazing. I've done cleansing. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those that's like showering of every
You
so often. You just got to do it.
do it, yeah.
And it always sounds like it's going to be worse than it is after you go through the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll put that caveat out there. The first one's
does
really
take-
kind of challenging because you don't know what to expect, and you're like, yeah. But
That's why you need a coach to walk
yeah,
through
you really do.
times. Yeah,
A
Yeah.
guide.
because
A guided
your
coach.
body could be presenting you with something and you don't know what that means, what to do. It's like, and you could freak out. You could stop the cleanse, which creates more problems. I mean, there's so many different things if you don't understand what's going on. So that's
Yeah.
a big part of my work.
It's kind of like having a doula when you're giving birth, or
Yeah.
hospice when you're helping somebody pass. There's just things that come up that you've heard about, but you don't know if this is what it really looks like,
Yeah.
or am I just making this up?
Right.
Because there's always those questions that go through your head about what's really happening.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's you can read about it, but when it's yours, your experience, whole other level, whole other thing, because you're in it. It's like, what do I do now?
Yeah, exactly. I remember when my father-in-law was passing, and they talked about the death rattle, and you hear about there's the death
Yeah.
rattle before people leave the planet, but or leave their body. But he I he was also congested at the same time. So it was like, I don't know, is he dying, or is he just like really congested? Do I need to do something? And I'm calling the hospice people at like 3 o'clock in the morning, waking them up twice, holding the phone up to my father-in-law. It's like, what is this? Where are we? Is he going to get better? Let him go. Okay. But it's just, You're prepared, you're mentally prepared, you know what's coming, you think you know what it looks like, but then the questions happen when you're going through it, which is why you need a coach.
Yeah, and
So call Loralee.
Right back to community. We're here together. We grow together. So yeah, that's what I do.
Absolutely. So we will put the link for that in the show notes so people can get in touch with you that way. And what is the one thing that you hope the audience takes away from this conversation? It's not like we haven't touched on like all the things and you can only pick one.
I would say the underlying theme that pulls all of this together is to really understand how powerful we are and who we are. By understanding we're energetic beings coupled with a physical body, we're so powerful. We can create illness, we can create health. And by really stepping into owning that ability, that, you look at your life and you say, for ill or for good, this is what I created. This is what my energy and my intentions created. Look how powerful I am.
Yeah.
And by owning that, you can create something better if you don't like what you see.
And it's never too late to change. Today is always the best day to plant a tree.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining me, Loralee.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.